Your bank account is bleeding out from 1,000 digital cuts that you can't even see. While you sleep, predatory subscription models are using psychological inertia to siphon away your hard-earned wealth through frictionless renewals. It is time to expose the invisible leaks that are silently sabotaging your financial future. Most people hear that and think of fraud, hidden charges, something illegal. But what makes this different is that nothing here is technically hidden. It's all visible. Every charge, every renewal, every agreement. And still, almost nobody sees the pattern until it's already grown large enough to matter. Because the system doesn't rely on hiding information, it relies on ignoring it. A single subscription is harmless. Even 2 or 3 barely register in a typical monthly budget. That's why they work so well. They don't need to be big. They just need to be persistent. And persistence, over time, replaces attention. You stop asking what you're paying for. You start accepting that money simply disappears in predictable directions. A streaming service here, a storage plan there, a subscription for productivity, another for entertainment, another you forgot you even installed. Individually, they feel like background noise. Together, they form something else entirely, a parallel budget running underneath your actual life. Somewhere along the way, the modern economy made a quiet transition. It didn't announce it. There was no single moment of change, but gradually ownership stopped being the default. Software stopped being something you bought once. It became something you rent. Music stopped being something you collected. It became something you accessed. Even tools that used to sit on your device permanently started requiring ongoing permission to function. And once that shift took hold in digital life, it began expanding outward. Not because people demanded it, because the math worked. A subscription doesn't end after a sale. It renews, again and again. It transforms a single decision into a continuous revenue stream. And for companies, that changes everything about how value is measured. Not by how useful something is once, but by how long it can remain in your life without interruption. That shift creates a very specific kind of design logic. Make it easy to enter, make it effortless to stay, and make leaving just inconvenient enough that it gets postponed. Not blocked, not denied, just delayed. Because delay is enough. Delay is where most revenue survives. And most users don't leave in anger. They leave in intention that never gets followed through. There's another layer underneath this that's harder to notice because it doesn't feel like manipulation at all. It feels like convenience. Automatic payments remove friction. They make life easier. No need to remember due dates. No need to manually approve transactions. Everything just works. But what they also remove is friction's hidden function: awareness. When every transaction requires no action, it also requires no memory. And without memory, there is no ongoing evaluation. You stop checking whether something is still worth it because the system stops asking you to decide. And so the subscription continues by default. Not because you actively chose it, but because you didn't interrupt it. This is where the psychological side becomes more important than the financial side. Human beings are not built to track invisible, repeated losses well. The brain responds strongly to one-time costs. A purchase feels real. A decision feels final. There is emotional weight attached to it. But small, recurring charges don't trigger the same response. They slip past that threshold. They become background structure instead of active decisions. And once something becomes background structure, it stops being questioned. This is why so many people underestimate how much they are actually paying every month. Not because they are careless, but because their attention is being distributed across too many small, non-salient events. Each one too minor to trigger review. Each one too familiar to feel new. Each one too automated to feel active. And yet together, they accumulate into something substantial. Not in a dramatic way, in a silent one. A slow narrowing of financial flexibility that doesn't announce itself as crisis. It just feels like there is always slightly less room than expected, slightly less margin for error, slightly more month left at the end of the money. And while individuals experience this as personal budgeting friction, the structure behind it is far more systemic. Because the subscription model didn't just change how people pay, it changed how companies grow. Recurring revenue is more valuable than one-time sales in most modern valuation systems. It creates predictability. It stabilizes forecasts. It increases long-term investor confidence. That creates pressure. Pressure to convert everything into something recurring, even when it doesn't need to be, even when it wasn't originally designed that way. And so products evolve, features get segmented, basic functionality becomes a gateway into premium tiers, services that used to be complete become layered into access levels. What you are really buying is no longer a product, it is a permission structure, and permission can always be adjusted, upgraded, downgraded, restricted, which introduces a subtle but important shift in control. You no longer fully own the tools you rely on. You rent access to them under conditions that can change at any time. And the more deeply embedded these services become in daily life, the harder it is to opt out without disruption. That is the quiet trap of integration, not force, dependency. Meanwhile, another pressure builds in the background: inflation, rising cost of living, stagnant wage growth in many economies. In that environment, even small recurring charges matter more than they used to. But instead of decreasing complexity, the system often increases it. More bundles, more tiers, more optional add-ons that quietly become defaults. And over time, household budgets don't collapse in a single moment. They compress, gradually, invisibly, across dozens of small channels that rarely get reviewed together. And this is where the real distortion happens, because when people try to understand where their money is going, they often look at large expenses: rent, utilities, transport, food. But the fragmentation hides the middle layer, the layer made up of small, automated, always-on charges that individually seem irrelevant, yet collectively form a significant share of monthly outflow. And because they are spread across different platforms, different companies, different billing cycles, they rarely appear as one coherent category in the mind. They exist as noise, not structure, until something forces attention back onto them, usually a bank statement, a budgeting app, a moment of financial stress. And then the realization hits: this wasn't one decision. It was dozens of small decisions made once, then never revisited. At that point, the question changes. It is no longer, why am I spending so much? It becomes, why did I stop noticing? And that is where the deeper issue reveals itself. It's not just about subscriptions. It's about attention being consumed faster than it is recovered, because managing recurring commitments requires continuous awareness. And modern life is designed to fragment awareness across endless competing demands, which means the system doesn't need to hide anything. It only needs to rely on the fact that most people won't audit consistently. But when audits do happen, a pattern becomes visible very quickly. Not fraud, not deception, but accumulation without interruption. And that is far harder to detect in real time than it is to understand in hindsight. The solution, then, is not extreme restriction. It is visibility, a full mapping of recurring charges, not as a budgeting exercise, but as a reconstruction of financial reality. What is active? What is forgotten? What is duplicated? What is no longer aligned with actual use? Because once everything is laid out in a single frame, the illusion of harmlessness disappears, and decisions become simpler. New tools are beginning to accelerate this process. Systems that track subscriptions automatically, tools that highlight unused services, even services that attempt to negotiate or cancel on behalf of users. Not because the underlying economy has changed, but because awareness is finally catching up to structure. And awareness changes behavior faster than any policy ever could. A simple shift emerges when people start measuring something differently. Not monthly cost, but cost per actual use. Because that metric removes illusion. It exposes what is active versus what is simply maintained. And in many cases, it reveals that a significant portion of spending is not tied to utility at all. It is tied to inertia, which brings everything back to the core issue. The subscription economy doesn't rely on people making bad decisions. It relies on people not revisiting old ones. And once that pattern is visible, the system itself stops feeling invisible. It starts feeling like something that only works when it is not being observed too closely. And that is the final contradiction. The modern subscription economy is designed to be frictionless. But it only remains stable when attention is fragmented. Because the moment attention becomes structured again, the system stops looking like convenience and starts looking like accumulation, quiet, continuous, unnoticed, until it isn't.